What's happening, folks? How are you? I made it back safely. Did get a couple of folks saying, hey, make sure you get back safely. So appreciate your prayers and support. But I made it back safely from Massachusetts. As I said earlier, you may have seen my short video. I took a ride. This is my first long ride on the Ryker. I went from the Philadelphia area to Amherst, Massachusetts, about 250 miles. Went to college there. They had our annual spring football game. And so I decided, you know what? Let's go for it. And so I rode up Friday, got up there, got a little motel in Chicopee, Mass. And stayed there for just that night and got up in the morning, went to the University of Massachusetts and toured the campus, hung out for a little bit before the game, and then got a great chance to hang out. They had food for the alumni. They totally took care of us, and it was a lot of fun. Got to watch the game, and then saddled back up on the bike, packed up my things, and made it back. But boy, it's the longest ride that I have ever gone on the Ryker. So I guess that's just about 500 miles in, is it 24 hours? Maybe just a little more than 24 hours. I mean, it's not an iron butt. It's more like a tin can butt maybe. But I just thought I'd tell you about the ride. I know a lot of you out there thinking about the Ryker, maybe trying to make a decision between the Ryker and the Spider. Obviously, the Spider is a whole different animal altogether, but maybe you're not into touring, but you do want to take some long rides. And I thought, well, hey, this just drive. I think when I went up there, it took me maybe 5-6 hours in totality because, I stopped a bit and kind of rested. Wasn't in a hurry. Similar coming back. Took me about 5-6 hours coming back from the ride. So I thought, let me share the experience with you because maybe you're thinking about getting a Ryker, but you're nervous about long rides and how does it do? I can just tell you my experience. So let's jump right on in. Let's talk about first the gear. What did I wear? Well, obviously I got my helmet. I know there are a lot of people out there that some states don't necessarily have to wear a helmet, but for me, I just feel like that's really important for me. Safety. I'm new to riding these, so I just want to be as safe as possible. So I wore my helmet. But more importantly, it's the other gear that you're wearing because now you're out in the elements, 60, 65, 70 miles an hour sometimes on the road, 40 degrees versus 60 degrees, total difference. And let's just say it can get really chilly. I think when I left Philly on Friday, I think we were in the mid 50s. I think that's where we were. So, I mean, it's not like, cold, but when you're riding on the bike at highway speeds, listen, it gets chilly and you'll wind up freezing if you're on there for a few hours. So the thing that really helped me the most was this jacket. This is the Scorpion jacket. This thing, let me tell you, it's got shoulder protection, elbow protection. It's got rear protection. I took the rear out, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But this jacket is incredible. I mean, this thing, it's got a liner. It's got more of a thermal liner. But in front of that, it's got a waterproof liner that's in there. So in the event that it rains, you can stay dry. I kept all the liners in. And again, you say, well, man, this really heavy and thick coat, it was 50-some degrees. I know, but 50 degrees driving a bike on the highway, I mean, the wind chill, it might bring it down to 20, if not lower. I don't know, but it's cold. But this, you put this on, and I felt nothing but warmth. I was totally comfortable wearing this jacket. It wasn't too tight. It wasn't, I didn't get overheated. It was perfect. It does have some vents, so if you do feel a little warm, you can zip down the front panel here, and it's vented, so you get a little more air in there. It's got plenty of pockets, front pockets. It's got a rear pocket pouch if you want. So if you want to take a liner out, fold it up and put it in the rear pocket, you can do that as well when you're on the road. But I'm telling you, this was probably one of the best investments that I made when riding this bike, because this thing, man, I've gone out. When I first got my bike, I think it was in February, and there were a couple days where it was like 18 degrees outside, and I went out, obviously because I'm thrilled to go out and ride the bike, and I wore this, and let me tell you, I was warm. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this thing is amazing. And I did put a scarf around my neck, but this thing is incredible. But the other side of this, the protection, if for unforeseen reasons you go down and you're sliding, boy, this is really protective. It's got phenomenal reflective capabilities, both high vis with the yellow. And I tell you, a lot of accidents that happen out there, when they speak to the folks that were in cars that hit a motorcycle accidentally, generally what they say is, I did not see them. And, a lot of times, you're riding a black bike, it blends in. And this high vis, it makes their eyes, mentally, your brain goes to something that's moving or something that stands out. And so I went with the high vis. Honestly, what I would like to do with my bike is, at some point with the panels, I want to get a high vis the same color. If I can get that matched, I'd match it with my bike, because I don't know, I just want to be as visible as possible. But the Scorpion jacket, this is a winner. If you're going to go on a long distance ride, the morning weather versus the afternoon and the evening weather, radical changes in temperature. And this is capable of dealing with them all. I don't know if I'd wear this in the heat of the summer, although you can take all the liners out. It's got huge ventilation in the front. But I have another jacket that's fully vented that I would wear in the summer. But this was great, because when I got up, Saturday morning to go to the game, in Massachusetts, it was 38 degrees, 37, 38 degrees that morning. But it was getting up to 60 by game time. So, but I was leaving early in the morning to go down there. I put this thing on, no problem at 38 degrees. By the time it was 60 and I'm heading back, 50, 60 degrees, I put this on, no problem. It's adaptable and it keeps you warm. And one of the things that can really hurt a long ride, is just not being comfortable. So, highly recommend. If not Scorpion, hey, obviously I'm not a YouTuber, so I haven't nobody's giving me anything free or giving me any demos. But I tell you what, this was a great jacket. I'm sure there are other ones just like it, but you want to get something that's heavy, has great protection. Now, underneath that jacket, I've showed you this before. I wore my Climb vest. This is an airbag vest. So it has a computer system in here that calculates 1,000 calculations a second. And it knows if you're going down or you're being rear-ended or hit. And this thing, boom, it inflates immediately and just, added protection. This also was great underneath that jacket, for added warmth. You keep your core warm, your body's less likely to pull blood flow from your extremities, so they stay warm. So I wore this underneath it. I was very comfortable the entire time, very comfortable. Then, what did I have on my legs? People don't think about the legs much, but I tell you, these pants, I got these from RevZillow.com, Moto Nation. This is probably right up there with that one as far as one of the best investments, because these pants come with a thermal liner and a rain liner. Now, for this ride, I took the thermal and the rain liner out, and I just wore the pants. And they've got knee protection. Obviously, this material is made so that if you do go down, it won't shred or tip. You can zip this into the back when it's real cold, so that you have full protection from the elements outside. You feel this, it's just made of phenomenal material. And I tell you what this did, going up there is it just took away the wind chill. There was no wind chill factor because of the fabric that these are made out of. My legs felt just as nice and cozy. I mean, it was almost like I was in a bubble bath. It was warm, but it was not hot. And in the morning when it was 38, these were phenomenal. When you're on the road at night coming back, the temperature went down. These were phenomenal. I felt as warm as could be. I didn't feel any kind of uncomfortability. They're loose, so you feel great. They do have ventilation in the front if it does get too hot. When I wore these pants, first off for protection, second off because of the elements. And I knew, man, you're on the highway for a long time. It gets cold, especially in the evening. It really, really gets cold. So that's what I wore. Then on my feet, I got these from Revzilla TCXs. These are riding shoes. They look like Jordans. They've got heel protection, toe protection. They've got a steel shank inside of here so that you get some flexibility, but you get the protection where you need it, more so on the bottom of your foot. These were great. Why did I wear these? I wore for a couple of reasons. Well, one, protection, right? But the other thing is because they're Gore-Tex, the wind resistance on these bad boys was fantastic. Your toes didn't get cold at all. Putting your feet out at 50, 44, 45 degree weather at 60 miles an hour, your feet are going to get cold if you're wearing sneakers. But these, because of the protection that they offer, man, it made it very comfortable. And these are real comfortable. So when I stopped at rest stops and you're walking around in these, you can't beat that. These were fantastic. Plus, if you get behind one of these trucks and rocks and salt and all that kind of stuff fall, things get kicked up at 60, 70 miles an hour, boom, they hit you. And if they're going 6 miles an hour this way and you're going 70 miles an hour that way, we put it together, that's a lot. So I wore these. These were great. Very comfortable, safe. They also are waterproof in the event if I did get caught out in the rain. I did look at the weather, and it looked like we had clear skies both days from here all the way up to Massachusetts. But if it did, the weatherman is never wrong, right? So if it did rain, you keep your feet dry. So I did that. On the glove side, I took 2 pairs of gloves. I've got these, which are your summertime type gloves. These gloves are Rocket, nothing special about them. They do have some protection on the fingers and your knuckles here. A little skid protection also on the inside of your wrists. Wear these when it's hot, because they got great ventilation. But, when I was going up, it was nice. When we left here, it was in the 50s. So I wore these. But later on, later on, as I was traveling, it got colder. So I had my other gloves. Now, these are not motorcycle gloves, but they're heated winter gloves made by Snow Deer. You press the button, you got a little battery in here, heats them up, going up. When it got around 40 or so, my hands were getting chilly in those. I put these on. I didn't even have to turn the heat on. These were great. The other thing that you want is both of these work on your touchscreen for your phone. Obviously, if someone calls you, you want to be able to just tap on the screen. Both of these have it, and that was very helpful during my trip. So I had these. Coming back, I left around 4 or so. So it was much colder coming back, especially at night. I did turn these on, but I only put them on level 1. There's 3 levels. I only put it on level 1. Worked the whole time. Didn't even have to charge them once, and just a phenomenal. So that was the gear that I wore along with the helmet. Got a great helmet. Nothing big. HJC helmet. Extra large because I got a lot of brain capacity. Nothing special about it. The vents, I closed them going up pretty much the whole time, which was great. Yeah, I will tell you this. bugs do hit the screen, and you might want to have some tissues or something like that at some point. I can't stand having the bug remnants left on there, so I like keeping it clean. Take some tissue, clean. I do have a Bluetooth, was able to connect to my phone, which is really essential. This one, it's Smart HJC. It comes with, or it's made for, the HJC helmet, so it has vents and so forth in here for it. And I tell you, when I'm talking on the phone, and I talk to my kids, my wife a couple of times, I'm doing 60 miles an hour on the highway, they can't hear the wind. They say it sounds like you're just talking normal. They can't hear the wind at all. And I could hear this. So this great tool for a long trip, being able to listen to music or catch a phone call. It was awesome. So I did that as well on that. Now, the other thing that I took, I got a couple of things for the road trip. I got this, a tire fix. You know, nothing big. You know, if you get, so if you want to plug your tire, you know, I was thinking about, man, if you go up there, you know, especially going through some of the high city areas, New York, New Haven, or what have you, a lot of times there's debris, nails, screws, and I was thinking to myself, gee, it would really stink if I got up there and a nail got in there and I got a slow leak or something like that. I wanted to be able to repair it out on the road. I think this will work. I mean, I don't know what happens to the seal. As long as I don't break the seal, I think I could fix that. So I got this. Thank God I didn't have to use it, but I didn't want to get up there and have to tow and wait around, and then what do you do? But this seemed like a great idea. I think it was like $5 or something like that at Walmart. Didn't have to use it. Don't ever want to have to use it, but I got that. Also got, I got this little electric pump, which I thought, well, man, if I'm out there somewhere in the highway and I get, a flat, well, yeah, I fix it, but then how am I going to pump it up? This little pump right here, this thing will do cars, it'll do motorcycles. It's got a light, a little flasher, really cool, and it'll pump up your tire. I mean, honestly, that'd be good for a car too. I have I got a hybrid. My car doesn't come with a spare tire. It has a little fix-a-flat pump thing. That doesn't work, I'll have that. That's always a good thing to have. The other thing I brought were these earplugs. Let me say, well, why do you have earplugs if you got music playing in your ears? I got to tell you, riding on the highway, that wind, you hear that wind, it's loud. Not necessarily on a short ride, 30 minutes or 40. It's not a big deal. But for 5 hours of that, it's just a pain. So I went Walmart, $3.47 or something like that. Got these earplugs, and I was like, well, I wonder if put the earplugs in, then I can't hear. No, you can hear. You can hear your music. You can hear phone calls, but it just deadens the wind. It really does a phenomenal job of deadening the wind in your ears, because hearing that for the whole time, it gets annoying after a while sometimes, but this really helped out a lot. And I tested it with phone calls. I could hear things very clearly. I tested it with music playing, and it was fine. So I got them. Some people they don't bother. Then I had this, tie downs, just some bungee cords in the event that if I got up there and say it got really hot and I wanted to take the jacket totally off, I could put it on the back, strap it down, make it easy. But here's the funny part. So I got these. I got the pump, I got the fix the flat tire thing for the plug, and guess what? When I left, I forgot it. totally. I can't believe it. I got this stuff, and I forgot the daggone, I forgot the pump, and I forgot the plug. I couldn't believe that. It's like, man, you prep for all this, and then you forgot it. So what did I do for luggage? So, a lot of times when I pack a lot just to, wherever I'm going, because I want to be able to change if I decide I want to work out, which I never do when I'm away. I got workout gear, then I got lounge gear if I want to just sit in the room with some sweats or something like that. And so what I had is this little compartment. This is, a Can-Am product type, and it's just a little luggage piece, and it has this liner here waterproof, keeps it safe. I mean, it's decent in its size. It's not like, I mean, you're not gonna get a lot of things in there, but you can get, I had a pair of sneakers. I put a pair of sneakers in here, socks, underwear, some sweatpants, a couple of tops, and I just rolled everything. You roll everything, and it's pretty deep. You know, it's deep. You got this that comes up to protect it, keep it from moisture. Then it flips right on top. You know, you lock it up, and boom, there you go. And I had that on the back, and so that's where I put, you know, all my clothes and a pair of sneakers. Because when I went to the game, I wore sneaks, and so I just had the sneaks in there, and then my computer, because a lot of times I'm always doing something, answering emails or trying to get certain things done. I just took my computer bag. Now this bag is, I bought this a couple of years ago. It's one of those bags that's like theft proof when you're in the traveling. The zippers are hard to pull across so no one can get it. It has a combo lock, but it's also waterproof. And I figured, man, this will be great or water resistant, if I get up there. And so I just put this on my back with the jacket, you know, and I pulled it tight. And honestly, I forgot I had it on because it felt so comfortable. That jacket is like a piece of armor. I never felt that it was on. When I got at rest stops, when I stopped to eat, I sat and kept it on my back. And it was pretty easy. And it had the straps on the side to loosen and tighten so that it rode up high. And when I was riding, it literally was right here on my back. So it wasn't like it was here pushing me forward. It fit perfect. So I was here. So I had my computer in here, my tablet, all the wires and chargers and all that kind of craziness. So I put it in here. So I was able to put 2 changes of clothes in here. When I was at the hotel, the pants, my riding pants, I left during the day because I was like, I'm just going down the way here. I left those. And I had two changes of clothes, pair of sneakers in there, computer, all my tech stuff was all in here. And man, it was awesome. It really worked out. And I just had a blast with it. So I was able to travel and go. Now, let me talk about riding, honestly, on the road. What did I learn? So, you know, riding for these long distances, you know, you get you get exposed to a lot more hazards out there. And one of the things that I realized, you know, when you're riding this Ryker, the ground clearance, I think is 4.2 inches. I'm not certain, but I believe it's 4.2 inches. So when you're on the highway and you're riding down the road and maybe a big truck is ahead of you. Now, no, the truck's clearance versus your clearance, there's no comparison. And that truck is huge, right? And maybe you're at a really safe distance, right? But if that truck sees a road hazard, say some debris came on the road, like a 2x4 fell off a truck, or a lot of times you see things on the road that fell out of construction trucks. That truck can put it in the center of its truck and have clearance. And if you're, you know, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi behind that truck, soon as that thing comes up, you don't have much time to react because you don't have the ground clearance. And if there's a car alongside of you, whether to the left or to the right, it limits your agility or ability to swerve out of the way of the debris. So what I realized, not that it happened to me, I just said, I want to be at least 4 Mississippi away from trucks, large trucks, because that gives me ample time to slow down or speed up or maneuver so that it does not come in the center of the Ryker. Because you know, if you go in the center, if it's more than 4 inches, you're going to tear up the front of your bike. In addition to that, if it's less, you're going to hit that back wheel. And you don't want to be swerving at 60, 65 miles an hour So keep a real safe distance from vehicles in front of you, or make sure that if you are in a situation where the vehicle is 3 Mississippi away, that you don't have cars on either side of you that prevent you from moving left to right. That was a real eye-opening moment for me, right? And I was like, wow, you really got to be careful here, because so many things happen. The other thing that I realized with this, when you start talking about distance, at night when you're riding, you don't want to drive faster than your headlights. And what I mean by that is you'll see clearly in the road where your LED lights or lights, which I don't think these are LED, hits the ground in front of you. And beyond that is dark matter. And so you want to drive at a speed that enables you to maneuver, stop well enough before, if something comes in that light. You follow what I'm saying? You got to be careful not to drive faster than the distance of your lights. In certain situations, you can put on the high beams. That helps out a lot. But don't drive faster than the distance of your lights, because you have to be able to react. You have to be able to maneuver in the event there's something on the road. And when you're driving down the Pennsylvania Turnpike, New Jersey Turnpike, 95, there's so much movement and so many trucks and things. Debris is always out on the road at some point, and you want to be able to maneuver. The other thing is, you never know what someone's doing up there. There are people up there that are changing lanes, but they're not checking their blind spot, which can cause a car to swerve. You've got to be able to react in a reasonable amount of time to get out of the way, knowing that there are other folks reacting to the left, to the right of you, and behind you. So when you ride that bike at a speed that you can handle whatever you may see in front of you. And at night, you can only see as far as your headlights. So just be very mindful of that. The other thing is these mirrors. The mirrors work great. I can see very clearly in my blind spots. I can see the traffic behind me. One of the things that I realize that's a road hazard or something to be cautious about is that you may look in the mirror and you'll see a car that's way back behind you, and you may want to come over to the right lane. But it's different than in a car. I don't know what it is. I think it's because a motorcycle, maybe I'm just a little quicker to just look and get back to the front of the road. I don't know. But there have been times where I've seen a car way, way back, which was easy for me to put my blinker on and go in the right lane. But that car was going at 120 miles an hour. One time there was a motorcycle, a guy on one of those sport bikes. I looked in the mirror, literally didn't see anything. And then literally within a second and a half, zoom, this guy came flying up on my left. He had to be doing 130 miles an hour. I couldn't believe it. I had looked in my left mirror. There was no one. But the problem was he was all the way in the other lane, the inside lane, and this guy was flying, doing 130 miles an hour, and he's weaving. And when I looked in my left mirror, he was still over here on the right. But then when I came back, there was nothing there. I came back front and center. He had now moved over all the way into the left lane, barreling towards me at 130. And then literally I looked, nothing there. I came back. If I was wanting to go over, I would think it's safe. I would have put my blinker on. But then, whoom! And I'm sitting there going, wow, that's very dangerous. Now, obviously, that was a unique situation, but I noticed it with other cars. Some cars are doing 90 miles an hour. I'm just not a fast driver. That's just not how I ride. I really don't. And they come, and when you look in the mirror, it doesn't look, you can't see how fast they're moving forward. And then all of a sudden you get back front center and boom, they are flying. And so for me, I was like, just be very cautious on the highway when you're traveling. If you want to get in either lane, left or the right, or you want to be in the center, just know, double check, triple check that mirror and the speed at which the car behind you is accelerating. Because there have been a couple of times I'm like, wow, these people are driving crazy. But I don't drive fast, so it's not like I was as worried because I generally stay in my lane. And, I mean, usually if it's 70 miles an hour, I'm doing 68. I just the way I am. I don't know why. I think, I mean, I enjoy driving, so maybe that's what it is. And I wasn't trying to be a speed demon, but that's something to be very, very cautious of. The other thing is, you want to make sure that with the your earplugs, I put the earplugs in, and it was something about it that was soothing without listening to music. I mean, I love music. Used to be a DJ in the 80s, a long time ago. But it's something soothing with the earplugs in and hearing the road. And just thinking and meditating on life, family, dreams. And it was something about it. Because when I went up, I didn't listen to any music the whole time. Not at all. And I didn't miss it. It was almost like a calming meditation type experience. I don't know what it was. This is my first time, long time on the highway like that. And I was able to just think. No interruptions, just think. And I really, really enjoyed that. And it was very peaceful. But the earplugs really, really helped. Gas, how did that go? Well, the Ryker gets about, maybe 30, 31 miles to gallon, somewhere around there. 150, 170 miles sometimes. Obviously just watch. I kept the range on, range till empty. Basically, I rode just about 100 miles. I rode till it got to about 50 miles to go before I stopped and got gas. And 100 miles, it was a good enough time. I know, just to sit down, not to get into tunnel vision. So you pull over, get some gas, sit there for a little bit, have a cup of coffee or something like that. Just to refresh your mind. I wasn't in a hurry, but the gas did great. I did think, man, if I was driving, cross country or, how some of these guys are touring, this is not the bike to do that because 100 miles goes quick and then you got 50 miles left. And then you kind of calculate how many miles to the next gas station and you don't know if you're going to get in traffic and be stuck and how will that go? If you're driving from here to Texas with this, that would be a pain. Every 100 miles having to stop and get gas. Maybe you do 130. I don't know. But that one I was kind of like, yeah, if you're going great distances a lot, you hate having to stop every 100 miles. If it was 200 miles, that would be different. But every 100 miles is kind of But for me to go up 4.5 hours, 5-hour ride, this bike can handle it. How did I feel on the seat? I have the comfort seat. Not a problem at all. Not one issue. I have lower back issues. So I didn't know how my body was going to react driving this thing that far. I never felt anything. Plus I had this with the computer and everything on my back. I felt nothing whatsoever. Very comfortable, very easy. I was shocked. I was like, wow, this is great. It was very comfortable. I did stop at a couple of rest stops. It was really cool. People are always looking at this thing. They marvel at the Ryker. They just think it's an incredible machine. And it is. It's the Batmobile, right? Oh, by the way, when I did get there to the stadium, so I get to the football stadium and there's parking for everyone on this big lot. And I just said, I'm not doing that. So I drove through the gate and went underneath the stadium. And there was a gentleman there that was running everything of the event. I said, listen, I played here back in the 80s. I said, I've got a Batmobile. And I pointed to the Ryker. And the Batmobile needs a Bat Cave. And I said, under the stadium right here is the Bat Cave. Can I park it here? He goes, okay, you can park it there. He said, I tell you what, if somebody bothers you, tell them Jeff said you could. I was like, yes, the Ryker strikes again. That was pretty cool. So I got to park underneath the stadium. I was the only one underneath there, which was really cool. And everybody's looking at the bike. And I was just like, wow, what an honor. What a privilege. So that was great. Gas mileage, it is what it is. I was happy with it. Very easy. I did stop at a rest stop and there were 5 guys riding slingshots, and they were coming from a 2-hour ride, and they were all customized. They had all kinds of incredible wraps, and then I had my Ryker. They're like, oh, and it was kind of like family. Like immediately, we were having dialogue, and they were like, well, where are you at? I said, oh, I'm in Philly. He says, oh, we get down there all the time. We'll see you down there where you ride. And we were just going back and forth. And the one guy, he had a slingshot, but he also had the Ryker 900 Rally. And he said, yeah, I have the Rally. He says, but honestly, I ride the Rally more than I ride the slingshot. He said, this is the first time I'm bringing it out all year. I was like, well, I said, I love it. And it was amazing that there was this immediate camaraderie because we had 3-wheel vehicles. And so it was a blast. So what can I say? Is the Ryker worth it? Absolutely. Can the Ryker handle long rides? Absolutely. Did I have any overheating issues, oil issues, leak issues? Not one. I was nervous thinking, man, I'm pushing this bike. You know, the bike handled everything. It remained cool the whole time. The level at the middle never changed. I never had any smoking issues with it. The shocks handled everything. You know, getting on that highway, I love, you can sit up and you feel the wind on you. It's therapeutic. But then if you tuck down, man, it's so cool to tuck down with that bad boy and watch it go. People were giving me a thumbs up all the time. Kids, dogs are even looking at this thing. I tell you, it was a great purchase. I'm glad I did it. I'm having a lot of fun. Hey, listen, if you have any questions about any of the things that I did with the Ryker, let me know, and hopefully I can answer them. I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to the summer and seeing what that'll be about. I'm Chip Mitchell. Thanks for joining me. Hey, like and subscribe. You know, it'd be cool if you subscribe, because if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I can do live uploads through my camera. I can't do live. These are pre-recorded. I'd love to do live ones, but I need to get to 1,000 subscribers. So I'm way short of that. I need another 600. So if you can, do it. There's no money in this because YouTube is not paying unless you're like off the chart. I'm not off the chart with this. I'm just having fun, and it's a hobby. I'm Chip Mitchell. Thanks for being with me. Take care.